Yesterday I got to appear by Zoom rather than having to be up there and here at the same time.
Thank you. Can you help me get it on to the...
Where'd it go? That's good. I won't go.
Let me ask you a question.
I didn't know.
Is it live? Or,
Yes, we're live.
Yep, you're good. Yep.
so we're ready whenever you are.
Yeah?
That's what that ball said. They all said it's a foot. So, all right, so yours is behind this.
I'm sorry?
Yours is behind this.
Just go ahead. I have a welcome
Okay.
screen.
Go, yeah, so,
You ready to go? Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve DeLaroche. I'm the Special Code Enforcement Magistrate for the City of Daytona Beach Shores, and these are the code enforcement hearings. The way this works is the city has the burden of proof. When I call a case, Ms. Herstein will present her evidence. You have the opportunity to cross-examine her or any of her witnesses. After that, it is your turn. You can testify yourself, you can call witnesses, you can present evidence. I will look at just about anything you want to show me, and then after that, I will make my decision. If at any time you do not understand what you're doing or what your options are, and it is your case, please just raise your hand, and I'll be more than happy to explain to you what your choices are. I can't make the choice for you, but I can certainly help you along so that you understand what's going on. Generally, we do call the cases in order. If there is someone who is not here for their case, I will put it last, and I will take the people that are here. The exception is the case on the docket, letter C, which is a telephone hearing, which we will take last so that none of you have to sit through that hearing. Okay? All right, so the first order of business is to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Does anybody have good reason why the minutes should not be approved? All right, hearing nothing, the minutes are approved. The first case is C. Oates Association, Inc., SCDEF 2023-37. Ms. Herstein? Would you mind raising your right hand? You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Okay, please proceed. Is there someone here from C. Oates Association? Okay, great. Can you hear okay? Okay. Were you provided with a packet from the city?
Yes, sir.
And you have a chance to look through that? Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to ask that each of the documents included in this PowerPoint file, whether presented during the hearing or not by the city for this case, be accepted as evidence, most of which have been provided to the special magistrate and all of which have been provided to the respondent.
Okay. Ma'am, your name?
Sherry Manning.
Ms. Manning, you have a legal objection to the introduction of the city's packet into evidence? Okay. Hearing no objection will be accepted into evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a first compliance hearing for a property which I expect will be compliant soon.
Oh, good.
The property came before you December 7th with 6 violations pertaining to seawall damage and damage to the pool deck, which had left the pool exposed. Property owners were to report to the city about their plan, as per your order, about their plan to take an SBA loan within 11 days of the hearing, and they did that. So an affidavit of compliance was generated. They were given until January 22nd to remove the hazard of an eastward leaning seawall. You can see it in at least one of those pictures, the
Right.
lower pictures. They did comply with the board, with His Honor's order, but 22 days after the ordered compliance date. There were some unexpected hurdles that they faced, and we'll certainly bring that up at the second compliance hearing, as will they, I'm sure. Affidavits of compliance and non-compliance were generated to reflect the observed states of compliance, and those start on page 4A-15 and continue beyond that. The second and final ordered compliance date, that's on date, second final, was April 30th, 2024. And while the property is not compliant, was not compliant by May 1st, and is not compliant as of today, contractor Parker Osborne is working hard toward completion, which is why I expect it to be back for a second compliance hearing fairly soon. Good service was achieved on the notices for today's hearing, and I would like to take you briefly through the violations and with pictures.
Okay, please.
Violations A through F. Violation A, seawall is structurally flawed and leaning outward with only temporary sandbags at the very south end, preventing further damage to the property from high surf events. I have the little numbers just so you'd see chronologically how it continues. Picture number 4, the lower right picture, is a good idea of how it looks today, although it's probably advanced from that stage. I think some of the wall is actually in place at this point, but it was not in place by May 1st, which was the day after the ordered compliance date.
And they're allowing construction right now, even during turtle season?
The state, thankfully, was able to put in place conditions similar to last year's to allow work to continue. Yes.
Good.
There are definitely conditions, but it was a huge sigh of relief for people with exposed properties and for the city. Violation B, seawall is non-functional and is not structurally sound. You can see the pictures on the left were the way it previously looked, and the lower right picture is the way it looked on May 1st. I put a red line in there showing approximately where the wall was and will be again.
Okay, they look almost like telephone poles or something laying on the ground.
The I-beams,
Are they going to stack those and make a seawall?
we do have the contractor here, and I think he will be speaking.
Okay.
So that's a great question for him. I think those I-beams are used as part of the construction of the seawall, but I don't think it's just a stack of I-beams.
It would be if I built it.
Unfortunately, when I went that day, their pump had gone down, and so there were a bunch of people ready to go, and they had to wait to get that going. Hopefully, it didn't take long. If it did take a long time, hopefully they'll bring that up at the second compliance hearing. Violation C, pool deck has collapsed in places. That's a little bit wider view, the lower picture of the jacuzzi, which amazingly, and the pool amazingly have stayed intact. So they're planning to continue to keep them and just build around them. Violation D, pool and pool deck are undermined. You can see the side of the pool there again, where it's not supported. Violation E, the seawall is not in good repair, is missing in places, and is not protecting property elements. Again, a fairly redundant picture, but all after the final compliance date of April 30th. And violation F, railing is not in good repair and is missing in places. Well, right now there's no railing at all. There's nothing to mount a railing on, but that's a condition, not a condition, but listed as a violation so that that gets to the end. There was one property that finished their seawall and then decided maybe they weren't going to put up a railing right away. There was a back and forth about whose responsibility it was, whether it was their contractor or somebody else had to be called in, and so we didn't want that to come up as an issue. We wanted people to plan ahead and not have a seawall without a railing. That's why that's included. And we are requesting in order number 11 to impose the fines which are still accruing, and also additional administrative fees of $92.43 for today's hearing. You can see an affidavit on page 4A33, together with unpaid fees imposed at the initial hearing. Total fees owed will be $269.12 if you
Did you provide me with a model number 11 that's up there?
I have it, Your Honor, may
May I see it?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I didn't see it in the packet.
Sorry, my phone is on because of that phone hearing.
Are you planning the city while you're doing this at the same time?
No, sir. No, Your Honor.
Thank you. I just wanted to see this. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for this. Ms. Manning, do you have any questions for Ms. Herstein? Okay. Ms. Herstein, do you have any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. Ms. Manning, is there anything you would like to present to me? You are under no obligation, and you are going to get another hearing after this. It's your choice.
So I was at the property this morning and things are moving along.
Great.
Park is here.
Would you both mind raising your right hand? Thank you. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, that nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please proceed.
So things are moving along and.
Great, that's what we want. And you're building the seawall?
Yes, sir.
Out of what?
So it's, are you familiar with the theory of a soldier pile wall?
Yes.
So it's essentially a soldier pile wall. It's got
Okay.
the concrete I-beams go down, and then it gets concrete sheets slid inside of them. So it's similar to a standard concrete sheet pile, just with dovetail joints in between
Okay.
instead of tongue and groove.
Okay. All right, well, that should hold.
Yeah.
Great.
So, yeah, they go down, they weigh about 10,000 pounds apiece.
Okay, perfect. Any idea when you'll be done?
Should be about the second week of June, if everything goes well.
Okay. As I said, you get another hearing. I have to impose the fines, and they're going to run. At the next hearing, you get the opportunity to explain to me why I should abate some of the fines. We're about to have one of those hearings. And what I'm looking for is, because the fines are a mathematical formula, number of days not in compliance times the fine amount equals the total fine. What I'm looking for is the ability to shave days off of your fine. For instance, if you applied for a permit from the city on Monday and they took a week to get back to you, I will take those 7 days off. I'm looking for things that are not directly your fault. And poor planning is your fault. But the city not issuing a permit for a week after applied for is not your fault. So that's an example of what I'm looking for, okay? And if I were you, and I try to give people as much advice as possible, because there's nothing worse than having a bill from this disaster and then I have to throw a big heavy fine on top that you have to take out another SBA loan to cover. If I were you, I would, 7 days before this hearing, submit your mitigation in writing to Ms. Herstein or who's ever in her seat, so that several days before this hearing, I can read through it, do all the mathematics, and then have questions ready. Because everything that somebody gives me, I read long before this. They gave me this book, every single page I've read. So if you want your best chance of success, please submit it to me 7 days beforehand. 7 days?
Your Honor, it's due noon to the city clerk, noon the Monday before the Thursday hearing. And that's listed in
Okay.
the hearing notices of hearing.
All right, so noon the Monday before the Thursday hearing. So slightly less. But that would give you your best chance of success. Okay? Any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Herstein, any questions for? All right. I'm going to impose order number 11. I do need you to pay the previous administrative costs and fees, plus the new administrative costs and fees of $92.43, for a total of $269.12 within 30 days. Can you do that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Good luck. and I'll see you at the next hearing. Thank you. All right. Next one is Beachside Coastal LLC, CDEF 2023-05. Good to see you again.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask that each of the documents included in this PowerPoint file, whether presented during the hearing or not, by the city for this case, be accepted as evidence, most of which have been provided to the special magistrate, and all of which have been provided to the respondent's counsel.
Okay. Any legal objection,
No
Wedge?
objection, Your Honor.
Okay. Then it shall be accepted into evidence. Unlike the last hearing, I don't have anything from you this time. Did you mean to submit any documentation?
Well, Your Honor, I have my witness here to testify, but we are missing some receipts that would have been submitted otherwise.
Are you requesting a continuance again?
If we could, it might be better for me to find the
Will you
receipts.
find them?
I will, yeah, they're online with Home Depot.
In which case, then yes, Your Honor, we are requesting continuance as my client has indicated that he can locate those receipts for me.
Okay, I hate to keep kicking you guys down the road, but I'm well aware of the last fine I handed you was substantial, and that this project was probably not cheap. And as I said previously, there's nothing worse than having the repair costs, and then the government throws a big hefty fine on top of you. And I want to be as fair as possible to everyone.
Thank you very much for that, Your Honor.
Ms. Herstein, do you have an opinion regarding a continuance?
I would just like to ask for the continuance costs to
Oh, of course, we're going to-
be imposed. They're less than the costs would be for having held the meeting, but I would like to ask that those be imposed. It doesn't include staff time because statutorily it's not allowed to, but it
Right.
does include some of the paper that gets generated, et cetera. And that amount is $80.22 and can be seen on page 4B-53.
Okay, I don't want it phrased that I'm selling you a continuance for $80.22, but,
Your Honor, we will buy the continuance for $80.
okay, I'll see you next month. Thank you.
very much, Your Honor.
And please, if you're going to submit anything, make sure it's in on time, because,
Absolutely, Your Honor.
all right?
Yes.
Thank you, guys. All right,
The next hearing would be 4D, even though.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, next hearing is property owner OC 3711 LLC, SCDEF 2023-50. Is there anyone here for this hearing? All right, seeing no one here, Ms. Herstein, you've already been sworn, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
First of all, this is, why, do you have any idea why nobody would be here for this? I know you're not responsible for getting them here, but,
I did speak with the property owner twice in the last 3 days, and he was hoping to be able to rearrange and to be present today, but he also was aware that today is basically a yes or no hearing about compliance as of end of day April 17th. And so he said, on one hand, I would like to be present to make sure the magistrate knows that I'm moving forward and to report on that, but I don't have any argument about, that's
Okay.
hearsay. But at the same time, he knew that having a conflict, that this hearing was not anything that he had evidence to present to our against.
okay. Well, I always get concerned when we've got a case that has potentially at least, hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage, that they're not ignoring it, or they're just gonna let the property get reclaimed by the sand.
I was pleased to have had that conversation with the property owner to know the ways in which he's moving forward.
Okay, good, thank you.
I'd like to ask that each of the documents included in this PowerPoint file, whether presented during the hearing or not, by the city for this case be accepted as evidence, most of which have been provided to the special magistrate, some of which have been provided to the respondent, though it's certainly available had the respondent come today, but certainly all of the notices and other support documents have previously been provided to the respondent.
Okay, hearing no objection, they're accepted into evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a first compliance hearing for a property which came before His Honor on October 19th, 2023. This property was found in violation and given 3 compliance dates. By the first date, April 17th, the property owner was to have taken temporary measures to protect the property by blocking seawall openings. I re-inspected on April 24th after that first compliance date and found that this had not been done. So I prepared and sent and also posted notices for today's meeting, and good service was achieved. Owner Pinchas Maman called a couple days ago. Actually, I think it was Monday. It was Monday or Tuesday. He'd arranged to, he was surprised. He'd arranged to have the seawall shoring done, and he named the company, and it's one who works in our city a lot and with which I'm familiar. But he had not checked on it himself due to, he named the Passover holiday as being one of the reasons that he hadn't been out to check. We discussed that, he told me that he'd already had engineering made, and he told me the cost, and it was staggering.
Yeah, $25,000 to have some plans drawn up for a seawall?
Well, he paid $50,000 is what he told me for the regular engineering for a regular type of seawall. He did not say what type, but when I say regular, I mean as opposed to Mr. Osborne's block building type of seawall. He got the engineering done, put it out to bid, and the contractor that he liked best, apparently, this was all according to a conversation, I don't have any evidence of it, but apparently he liked Mr. Osborne and the Ready Rock style of seawall, but his engineering that he had drawn was not usable for Ready Rock construction, so he was offered to have those plans drawn by an engineer who specializes in Ready Rock for $25,000, but he chose to go back to his original engineer to ask if he could, since he'd already done all that work, if he could switch to a Ready Rock type of system without having to pay from scratch, basically. That was where his conversation left off. He hadn't had an answer yet from his engineer, but he's going to move forward one way or the other.
Okay, it just seems incredibly high for a single wall.
It's
No.
a wall that is abused by Mother Nature.
Right, but based upon the first hearing we had, it seems to me that they've probably got this thing down and you could just
Every property has its own
challenges.
and differences, and I
All
don't
right,
know
well,
what else to say about that.
I'm not here to place judgment on what engineers charge.
I do have affidavits, an affidavit of noncompliance you can see starting on page 4D-11, and I'd like to take you briefly through the violations. It's not
Okay.
a long list. Violations A through E. This is A, the seawall has failed and is missing in places. The upper pictures were earlier on in the process, and then the lower pictures were what I saw on April 24th. This is the bottom right picture is the view from the north end of that property, the wall. It's wide open. And when I look at it, it appears that that was possibly moved or removed when the stairs were installed. I'm not sure, but bottom line is this is the way that it sits, and it's not a good way to sit going into a hurricane season, which Mr. Maman, the owner, agrees with. You can see some other openings, though, in other places on the bottom picture. All the way to the south of this wall, it's not strong. Most of the top portion had already failed on the north side, and there is a hole at the bottom, and I have taken some pictures up underneath that hole. Those are all weak points. And the whole wall has to be replaced, is what the engineer said, and I, as a layperson, I can see why.
Yeah, I can see why.
Violation B, the pool deck has collapsed at the northeast corner. I would say the northeast corner of the property. It's more than the deck collapsing at the northeast corner. But this is an overview from that beach approach. The lower picture is the one that was taken in April.
The pool that we see, is that secured in any way?
Well, the opening, there is an opening directly from the beach, but there's not an easy way to access short of climbing up
Because of the
those
hole.
tiles that are falling.
So
You could
the
get
hole
into
protects the pool?
property, I suppose, yeah.
All right.
And the green is something that needs to be worked on as well. Violation C, the paint on the seawall is deteriorated and peeling. That's very clear to see in the lower picture. And I wouldn't have expected that to be done until the seawall is replaced.
Right.
Violation D, the seawall does not appear to be structurally sound and sections are missing. Similar, issues, but slightly different. You can see the opening at the bottom. There was some sand and rubble in the top picture at that opening at the bottom, but it's a lot more open now. There's not stuff inside, which means the water has an easier path in. Seawall is not in good repair. This is violation E. Missing in places, not protecting property elements. Again, the same. Just these were different code sections that were cited with each of these violations. We're requesting that you find the property remained in violation beyond the first ordered compliance date with an order number 11, that you impose additional administrative fees of $85.53, together with unpaid fees from the initial hearing. The fees will total $234.62 if you impose today's requested fees.
Okay. As the other side did not show up, I'm going to impose the order number 11 as it's written there with the $85.53 in fees within 30 days, with the other administrative fee for a total of $234.62.
Thank you.
Is this a hotel or?
Yes.
It's unusual you'd have a single person owner of a condominium, so.
Correct, right. And that wouldn't technically be a condominium form of
Right,
ownership
yeah.
unless one person bought every single unit in one. But yes, it's a hotel.
Okay. All right, thank you. Do you have to do anything special for our C?
I need to text, please, if you'll give me a 5-minute
Go ahead,
recess.
sure.
I need or less, because he may call back promptly. We're a little earlier than what I
Right, so,
told the attorney as far as how long I expected the other cases to take.
all right,
But I imagine he's probably ready, so let me reach out and text him and say, please call. And he will be using the phone that I think is
this one?
available to you up there. And
Okay.
once you get the call, and you can put him on speaker and,
All right, great. Well, we're in recess until
okay.
you're ready.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Switch, so we're ready.
here, we saw it the other day. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just document.
This is James Pickens,
Probably doesn't help that we,
Pickens. He's with Kinsey Vincent Pyle. He's a partner.
our Hatter Means guys turn off the.
He's
fixture
just
and
across the river.
Adding to that.
I've never been to their office. He's always,
Coming in.
Yeah, it's on Palmetto, almost like the corner of Palmetto and Magnolia. I'm surprised he has to call in.
he had a conflict. He was due to be out of town, so he's calling in from out of town. He's
Oh,
here. Thank you.
okay.
Calling in now.
Great. Hello?
Good morning, Your Honor. This is James Pickens calling in on behalf of Halifax Investment.
Good morning, Mr. Pickens. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. All right, Ms. Herstein, can you hear him?
I don't think it's on speaker. We probably have to,
Oh.
the secretary's coming to help.
All right,
I think there's this.
there's the volume. Plus. Okay.
I tease him.
These are brand new phones, Your Honor, so.
Yeah, I've never seen
we're
one that
all
looked like this
learning
before.
this.
Worst case
It should
scenario,
just be
we
on,
could put
on mute.
but I think.
No.
Green is, yeah.
Green is good.
Technical
All right.
differences.
Well, Your Honor, I
Oh,
can
okay.
Now we can hear.
Sir Hirschstein just fine.
Okay, great. We we have a new phone and everybody had to weigh in on its operation. All
Well,
right,
I certainly am accommodating our request, Your Honor.
no problem. Always happy to. All right, Ms. Herstein, we have the case of Halifax Investment Services LLC, CDEF 2023-24. Mr. Pickens, Ms. Herstein has been previously sworn.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions or anything you want to say before we proceed?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Herstein, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to ask that each of the documents included in the PowerPoint file, whether presented during the hearing or not by the city for this case, be accepted as evidence, most of which have been provided to the special magistrate and all of which have been provided to the respondent's counsel by email at a late hour last night.
Okay. Mr. Pickens, did you receive the city's packet?
Yes, Your Honor, and we'll stipulate.
Okay, I appreciate that. Then the packet shall be received into evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. With him stipulating, I'd still like to take you briefly through, if that's acceptable.
Yes, because we do need a record in case there's any type of appeal.
Thank you. This is a first compliance hearing for a property found in violation at an initial hearing held October 19th, 2023. Of the 20 original violations, 3 were corrected before that initial hearing and 3 more were corrected by the special magistrate's ordered compliance date, leaving us with 14. The respondents were ordered to provide bi-monthly signed and sealed engineers reports, reporting on the safety of the site and the integrity of both of the 2 buildings at the site. We successfully received reports by December 1st, February 1st, and April 1st. Affidavits of compliance were generated for each. We
Okay.
expect another by June 1st, as they are required until the property is fully compliant with the magistrate's order. April 30th was the date ordered for full compliance. I re-inspected on May 1st and found that 14 violations remained. An affidavit was generated and then a notice of first compliance hearing. Good service was achieved for that mailing and posting. Affidavits for that service start on page 4C-31. The owners came to town in March and have caused an FDEP permit application to be submitted for rectification of the seawall. The permit has been issued, that permit now has been issued, as has a Daytona Beach Shores seawall permit.
Okay.
Though no work had begun by the May 1st reinspection, and I can show you brief pictures. I don't know brief pictures, but I'll give it to you briefly.
Okay.
Violation A, the building on the east side of the property is severely undermined and threatens danger to a person or property. Violation B, the east building is severely undermined, multiple caissons exposed. And violation I, east building is undermined and not supported as built. And I have more recent pictures just in the next slide. You can see the ones at the bottom were taken May 1st, 2024, and they look very much like the pictures taken back in June of last year. The trap bags have diminished somewhat, which you'll see in other pictures. Violation C, east building's non-structural walls are in disrepair. That has not changed. You can see the lower May 1st picture. Violation D, east building's roof is at least partially missing. And the violation O, the roof is damaged and missing in places east building. While I have seen a roof permit issued, I have not seen that work has moved forward with that, under that permit. And you can see the same issues at the edges of this roof in the below pictures taken on May 1st were similar to what you could see at earlier inspections. Violation E, broken seawall, pool, and deck debris remain where they fell, east of east building. And that is, it seems that it gets moved around at times. Possibly, I don't want to speculate, but you can still see very much the debris in that May 1st picture at the lower right. Violation F, paint chipped and peeled in places east building. The lower right picture looks similar to the one taken last June. Violation J, spalling concrete in places east building, and you can see those two pictures on the right were from May 1st and look similar to, if not a little bit worse than the pictures taken at previous inspections. Violation L, electrical conduit is unsupported and no longer attached to the building face east of the building. Violation M, windows broken at southeast corner of east building. The light on May 1st let me get a good picture of the way that one particular window is broken and the one below it is a panel. Not sure. It may end up being just that one window panel, but I think the whole system is going to need to be replaced. Violations P, Q, and R are all shown in this slide. Flashing missing in places west building, soffit missing in places west building, and fascia missing in places west building. These were visually improved but without an associated required permit previously, but now they are covered under a permit, but no inspection has been called for. So if they can do that, they would be able to, and that inspection passes and is final approved, they would be able to eliminate those three violations, P, Q, and R. Today we're asking for an order number 11 to impose the fines which are accruing daily and add an additional administrative fee of $99.33 for today's meeting. Administrative fees for the initial hearing have been paid.
Okay. Mr. Pickens, do you have any questions of Ms. Herstein?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to say or present to me?
My clients are moving forward with the permitting process. I believe they will be able to get to start earlier than the end of the turtle season in October is what I've been told, but they're going to do their best to bring this into compliance as quickly as they can.
Okay. I appreciate it because, I know you weren't here earlier. As I've said 3 or 4 times, there's nothing worse than having damage and then the government fines you on top of the project, making it far more expensive. So I am going to issue an order number 11, $250 per day fines accruing until the code violations are rectified, and order that the $99.33 administrative fee be paid within 30 days. Is 30 days possible?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I appreciate it. Anything else, Mr. Pickens?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you appearing.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, bye. Now, how do we hang this up? All right, he hung up, so it rendered it null. Okay, great. All right, anyone have any other business? We do have a change in the schedule, and that is the next code enforcement hearing is June 20th, 2024, which is of course a Thursday. Then July is July 18, 2024, again a Thursday. And then August meeting has been rescheduled to August 22nd at 9 a.m., which again is a Thursday, and I appreciate the city accommodating my personal schedule. And nothing else, we're done. Thank you. How much longer do I get you?
Well, I imagine, are we off?
Well, I'm